So, hi everyone. So, thank you for this opportunity. So, we are here for VinFin. So, what is VinFin? VinFin is a simple management tool to track all your investment with ease. So, let's dive into more details to it. So first thing, the traditional investment management of today, like usually it's super time consuming. It's mainly because you have multiple different platforms, and then you have to bring all the data in one place, and then it requires a lot of manual work. Then the second thing is there are some companies who are trying to automate this procedure. But still, it's due to the complexity in integrations, and every investment platform has a lot of different features, and it's always complex to integrate multiple different platform, so which is always complex. And then there is no data analytics. You cannot see like in one sheet what is my net worth, what are the investment that I have made, what's the percentage gain I got in this asset. So it's always complex, and you have to look into different data source, and it's again complicated. And then there is not many tools that can offer multi-asset tracking. There are some tools that can, for example, track the equity investments, or something, or all the cryptocurrency investment, but there are no tool that can integrate all your investment in one simple dashboard. So this is our main problem as an investor. So then we try to get some more validation around it, and we identified that the 65% of the time spent in investment is mainly focused on data transformation, which includes gathering the data, putting it together in the format that it can be analyzed, so on and so forth. And then we our survey result also suggested that 70% of people feel that they don't have any platform that can do this do this sort of magic that brings all their investment in one place, just to showcase. So this is how the traditional investment analysis works. So you get data from different sources, you combine together, you use some spreadsheets, and also maybe some, in some cases, some tools to analyze this data. And as I said, it's super time consuming and complex. And then one another missing part of the story is you cannot backtrack. For example, even if you do all this, you can see what's the current situation, and then it would be super complex to see what it was like 1 month back. So this is the main problem. So what is VinFin? So we are an investment management platform that focuses on three customer segments. One is individual investors who have a couple of investments in different portfolios perhaps, and then investment advisors who focus on a couple of people who have couple of investments, and then dedicated portfolio managers who want to manage a bigger size portfolio, generate reports, audit it, so on and so forth. And then our focus is really on people who want to leverage technology in this segment by providing simple, automated, and advanced analytics to them. So let's dive into our platform. So uh, this is how our platform looks like. So it's a simple dashboard. You log in. Once you log in, you see all the core data that you want to see at the end of the day. So you see the investor amount, current valuation, the total gain, the asset allocation, what's your goal, and what's the profit so far, what's the achievement, and so on, and everything around this. So this is what we are building right now. So every investor who has some investment can go to this app and just track their net worth. Then we have also did analysis in the competitive landscape. We are the not only one in this space. There are a couple of other players into it. But the problem with most of the players, it's in most of the case it's not automated. So we have to manually feed the data inside. In some other cases it's automated, but then the analysis is compared. They don't leverage the technology of big data and other technologies to just give them an insight. So what we do is we integrate our platform with many different uh, brokers, for example. So they give you what's the investment, and in some cases we also integrate with authorities so that they give you exactly what's your investment for equity, for example. And then another authority who gives what's your investment in bond. We combine all them in a single place. And
Thank you
then
very much. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but
perfect.
the time is up.
Already 5 minutes. Cool. Perfect.
I know
Cool.
it's tricky. Thanks a
Yes.
lot for your presentation. Let's
Mhm.
start with the questions from the jury, and I see a question from Mike in the chat already, so I would suggest to start with that.
I think you sort of half answered this, but how are you going to get this data in the
Mhm.
system without having to do a lot of manual work?
Exactly. So what we focus is mainly on integrations. So that is our key. So if you are an investor in let's say equity market, most likely your broker would provide a API access which can fetch your information. So with the API we cannot transact anything, but we can just fetch the information once I have approval from you. Similarly, there would be authorities who, for example, manage the demat account, who would be happy to give you this detail. And then we use these APIs with the permission of you, and then we bring all the data in one place.
Okay, so what's just stopping the other guys from doing these integrations if they're so easy to do?
Exactly. So it's more like the main problem in this landscape is uh, currently the brokers are the rulers of the space, and then the brokers' main goal is to integrate with the APIs to transact. And then the end of the day, what's the problem is that the broker wants to use their API, not all the others' API. So the problem right now is there is no integration between these brokers that makes people to use different items for different products.
Thank you very much. I see a question from Karin as well, so let's take that one next.
Yeah, my question is more about how and why did you get this ID? As you mentioned in the competence analysis, the ID itself is not new, but having your additions to it, it is. So how did you feel the pain that you need to solve?
Uh, yeah, can you repeat the final question?
How did you find the pain that you need to solve?
How did we find? Yeah, so
Yeah.
the first thing is we like personally we started as an investor. So when we are small we don't see any problem. And then once we started couple of assets, it was problematic, and then we started using Excel. It was fantastic. Then over the time it becomes super complex. Now we have a sheet with close to 30 pages which consolidates data, and it becomes super complex to auditing, which is fine. We are still a normal investor. Then we go around for a survey, and then we ask other kind of investors and also the advisors on whether they face the same problem. And then this is when we unleash that almost 65% of the time they spend is to collect the data, especially if it is an advisor. They spend this time for every single client they have, so which is super time consuming. At the end of the day they do all this, and they spend much less time in really analyzing the data and giving the exact outcome. So this is the phase we came, and we are also driving to this customer focused mentality. So everything we do, we try to validate with them what's the most used API that can solve their pain. So we keep asking them questions to validate the idea, and then we build a simple prototype, and then we see the outcome. So we try to develop in a closed loop ecosystem, and that is why we applied for this grant to go to conferences and then really interview with for example the financial brokers and other people around this domain to exactly understand which are the pain points they have and how we are eating them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for the elaborate answer. Any other questions from the jury or from the audience? I take that as a no. Thank you very much for the presentation, Anand, and for answering the questions.